I'm jacking up the front of the F150 to check the front brakes. So I had to use a couple of boards. Got a couple of pieces of particle board underneath the jack, because otherwise it wouldn't get high enough. Pull both wheels off the ground. Okay, they're both off now. Get both wheels off. And I'm going to set this down onto these blocks. Okay, there's a secure position. Okay, we checked these brakes out in this F150, and looking through the inspection slot, we found that the inside brake pad is at 1/8 inch, which is the wear limit on these. So we're going to change out the pads, inspect the rotor. Let's do a general brake check and repair on this car. First thing you want to do, brake parts cleaner, get the dust out of there as much as possible. First up are the two 13mm pad holder bolts, caliper bolts, and the other one is down here. See right here. I've just adapted up to 1/2 inch here, and there's plenty of room to swing it, so you know, why not use a breaker bar on it? There it goes. One down. And the other one's loose. Okay, it's already finger tight. Okay, so here's where we can remove the shoe holder. Get a screwdriver in there. The pad holder, I should say. And you might have to do it from the bottom as well. Ease this thing off. Caliper. Get the caliper off of here. Set it up out of harm's way. Got a breaker bar on here. There it goes. I'll get that the rest of the way. Let's move down here. Hopefully this is in the field of view. Okay, so we'll proceed to put a ratchet on there. What I've decided to do is hang this caliper up, because I'm going to remove the rotor and have it checked, and it's seized on, so I'm going to have to carefully beat the crap out of it and get it off of there. No, I'm just kidding. Tap it off gently. So I'm going to check this rotor here for thickness. This is within the specs, and I looked it up. It's 1.12 inches. And what you do is make 4 marks on here, 90 degrees apart, and then just check it with your micrometer. And what I'm getting here is about 1.15. 1.15, 1.15. Okay, these old brake pads are stuck in here pretty good. This one has a little clip on it. And see, the other one doesn't get that. Now what we're going to do is clean these up. I didn't get new hardware. We'll clean these up with some steel wool and then put some brake caliper grease on them. Anywhere that the moving the surface is contact surface, we'll use some brake caliper grease. So replacements here. Ceramic from Napa. Okay, and one of the two of each pair does have a little clip on it. So that one's got to go on the inboard side. And this would be the comparable one, because they are different from side to side, it looks like. This is the one that's going to go in here, like so. Clean this up. Get a little caliper grease. Put it on a Q-tip. And I'm also going to put some, I got the clip on this side the same as before, putting some here on the contact surfaces. Right about there. One thing that you can do now to save a little time is back this inboard pad back a little bit so that there's room when you put it in for the rotor to slip in. It's easier to do it now. And you should have between the end of the metal part here, the thick part, to the end of this clip, about 3 millimeters, 2 to 3 millimeters. And then it should be back far enough to be able to slip on. And now we have the outboard pad. A little grease on this one. Okay, there we are. Okay, one more good practice with calipers is to pull out the pin. And even though this one wasn't sticking at all, still a good idea to relube it. So we want it to stay that way. So repeat that on the other one. Okay, to prevent squeal on the back plate, it's a good time to put some caliper grease on. And if you're not sure where to put it, then just look at the piston pattern on the old ones, and that's where you want to put it. Again, just putting some onto a Q-tip, or just make a circle on here and then spread it a little bit. You know, you don't need to do the entire backing plate. And just repeat on the other side. Again, you can see the pattern here on the old inboard shoe. Very, very similar. Just put it in a circle around these rivets. Okay, our rotors have been resurfaced, turned, cut, whatever terminology you want to use at a machine shop. They look real good. They cleaned them all up, inside and out. The surface here that was sticking before. So, it'd be a shame not to also clean the hub surface up. So that's what we're going to do next. Also can use a drill for the wire wheel on it. Because if there was some left on there, it would throw off our nice new brake job. Throw off the alignment of the shoes and the pads. And some of this rust is proving to be difficult to get off. Using a chisel. To get the worst of this off, I'm resorting here to a grinding stone. Much better. Okay. Okay, so now I'm just finishing up with some steel wool. Get me down to where I can see a little shiny metal here. And I'm just going to clean this up with some lacquer thinner on a rag. You know, we have this nice and clean. Let's put a little anti-seize on here this time. Hopefully, you know, make it a little bit easier to get off next time. Especially down in here. Okay, so we'll just put some of this on here then, and put some on the rotor too. Double your chances. Okay, we've applied some anti-seize to the inside surface of our newly surface rotor along in here. Okay, you have your holder in. Now I've removed the outboard pad because it kind of gets in the way and slips off. But you can see we had our gapping right. It slipped right in. Now it can sometimes be a bit of a challenge to get these caliper bolts started. So they can be off by just a slight amount. And they won't go in. Well, I got them in there really easily that time. Okay, I like to use a torque wrench on brakes, just because they're critical parts in the car. Okay, we're going to torque these now, and you're going to need a good-sized wrench. 136 foot-pounds on these 18mm bolts. There we are. Now the outboard pad can be slipped in, you know, right around the holder there. Okay, the next job, I'm going to have to retract caliper pistons. Unless you're Superman and you can push these back in, you're going to need to use a C-clamp and a washer. We're just going to take them down one at a time. And just repeat on this side. Second time. The other one's coming back up a little bit, but we have retracted them. Hopefully enough to get it back, get the caliper back in over the pads. Before you install this caliper, really not a bad idea to put some caliper grease on the piston face. Another, you know, source of noise. And clean the surfaces. I cleaned them up. And then we'll put a little of this here. And repeat up here too on the outboard contact surfaces. Let's see if we can get this caliper back in place. It took me several retractions of those pistons to get them right. The double piston system's a little more challenging. Now we can get our little holder bolts, caliper to holder bolts, get those started. And they're both going. Okay, as far as torque goes, 21 to 26 foot-pounds per Haynes. Okay, that should do it. Okay, one good check when you're done with this that I always do is make sure your calipers are working good. So check it first. Have a helper hit the brake. Go ahead. Okay, we're locked on. I'll check the other side as well. And off. Now we're just going to make sure the caliper released properly. And we're going to repeat that on the other side. Okay, another touch I would definitely recommend doing is some little never sees here too. And also on the underside of the wheel. Because these things, it's no fun when a wheel rusts on. That happened to me a number of times. And okay, I'm going to set it back down and apply the final torque. There's two different torques that are possible here. One is 100 foot-pounds if you have a 12mm stud, which is what's on this truck. So I'm going to put this to 100 foot-pounds. It's 150 if you have the bigger stud, which is 14mm. Okay, we're wrapping this up in stages, ending up at 100 foot-pounds. So thanks for watching this video, and happy and safe motoring to you.